I am so sick of it right now. As a Manchester City fan, it's just one thing after another at the minute. It really is. You get one glimmer of positivity. One glimmer. And then it's immediately met by 2 or 10, potentially 10 bits of shit news as a Manchester City fan. 10 potential players could be out for the Manchester derby. A derby that is very much bigger than it usually has been in recent years. Because the two sides, the gap's reduced between the two sides. I still think we are by far the better side and club. Right now, at least. But the gap, certainly in the table, they're sat above us in the table right now, and you're hoping, well, let's go in. You know, it's a moment to real set down and place down a marker, at least in the city, and say, we are still the big dogs in the city. We want all our tools available to us, and apparently 10 players could be out for the derby. I don't want to fearmonger, because I think a lot of those are tactical in terms of Stones, for example. He's supposed to be out. I don't believe he is. I think he's going to be fine. I think he withdrew precautionary reasons for that one. And I think he will be playing for Manchester City at the weekend. But we'll have to wait and see. But the players that are missing, the first one, City themselves have released a statement saying Manchester City can confirm that Omar Marmoush has sustained a knee injury whilst on international duty with Egypt. The City striker suffered the injury in the early stages of Egypt's World Cup qualifying match with Burkina Faso on Tuesday evening. Initial results on the scan performed in Egypt indicate he will not be available for the Manchester derby on Sunday, and he will now return to Manchester for more assessment and to begin his rehabilitation. Everyone at City wishes him a speedy recovery. Me too, of course. But the rehabilitation bit suggests to me that there's some sort of amending has to happen here. Rehabilitation. To even say that word in this statement doesn't bode well. That's not a good starting point if you're already thinking about the words of rehabilitation. If that rehabilitation lasts a week, then that's okay. Not too bad. But I'm concerned. Knee injuries, I'm always concerned. But these are the other names that could be out in the Manchester derby. The definites are at the top of the list, as you can see. Kovacic. Ryan Cherky's out for 2 or 3 months, which is a massive blow. Massive blow. I mean, what a terrible start to his career at Manchester City to be out for 2 months. Gutted. Absolutely gutted. Phillips. Calvin Phillips. And I could already hear you right now, the viewers watching this right now, just going, Calvin Phillips. Yeah, Phillips is out. Devastating blow. Savinho is a doubt. Foden is a doubt. O'Reilly is a doubt. Bettinelli, I mean, we're going to be talking about the goalkeeper in a minute as well. He's a doubt. Vardiol is a doubt. Hussanoff is a doubt. Rico Lewis is a doubt. And John Stones is a doubt. So that's actually 11 names there. I miscounted. 11 names. So a full starting 11 could be potentially missing. I don't believe John Stones is out. I think Hussanoff, rumours are to be believed he's okay. Vardiol is supposed to be okay as well. Savinho, I'm more interested in that one not from an injury point of view, as in a mind state point of view. If you're coming back into this fold, into the starting 11, are you committed to the cause? Presumably you are. Presumably, because the whole Spurs transfer saga, that ran for quite some time, and I do think there was a genuine possibility that he could have become a Spurs player during the summer transfer window, which proved not to be the case. And I'm okay with that. I know a lot of people would have preferred Rodrigo. Ultimately, I'm all right with it. I'm only okay with it if he is okay with being a Manchester City player. More than okay. I don't want you to be, I'm all right. I'll stick around for a bit. I don't want none of that shit. I want absolute 100% commitment. Like, I'm going to bleed blue for this club. You know, I want absolutely fighting for the cause. Now, I'm sure for the sake of not just his career at Manchester City, his career overall, that he's going to do that for Manchester City. So, I mean, if he's available, I think he should be considered for the starting 11. But let's have a look at the possible starting 11 if all of those players are out. Question number 1. Should Donnarumma go straight into the starting 11? I don't think it's as black and white as a lot of people think it is. I don't think it is a definite that he starts this game in the Manchester derby for 2 reasons. One, for the optics side of it, from the fact that if we sign a new goalkeeper, he goes straight in. And Trafford, who didn't get off to a great start when he was at home to Spurs, but I thought he did very well, actually, in the Brighton game in terms of shot-stopping ability. And he was all right with his feet, actually, as well. So I do think there's an optics point of view and Pep Guardiola wanting to man-manage the situation and not just throwing Trafford straight under a bus the second that Donnarumma arrives, and then Donnarumma probably comes in as the number one after the Manchester derby. Or just throw Donnarumma straight in. I'm not sure he will. That's point one for optics point of view. Point two is, does he know the system? Does he understand what's required of him in that position? Because he's been here for 5 minutes. Has he learnt what Pep Guardiola wants him to know when he's rolling the ball out to Diaz or to Stones or Husanov or whoever it may be in front of him in the defence? Does he know exactly what the system in terms of the build-up play and the styles and the patterns that we want to form, what they're going to be? If he doesn't, then he shouldn't be playing because he needs to know that information, and he's only been here for 5 minutes to learn that information. So for that reason, he might not start the game either. After that, in a week's time, I think, yep, get him straight in. Get him straight in. The back four then starts to look like that with Núñez, Diaz, Ake, and Ryan Aït-Nouri. So we've got pace in the fullback positions. If this is all of those injuries are true, which of course I don't believe all of them are. I like to think Stones will probably be back in now, and I'd love to see it if Guardiola's back as well. But that would be the back four. The question for me is, who's on the bench? If all of these players are out, who would be on our bench? You know, it's a massive concern. We've got no defenders as substitute defenders for this game. If Vardiol, Kusanov, even O'Reilly, who could play left back, he's out. Lewis is out. I think I've already said Stones. But yeah, ultimately, and obviously we've sent Akanji out on loan. So this is our back four, whether we like it or not, if those injuries are to be believed. In front of them, I don't think there's massive problems outside of that. I do think there's a little bit lacking in creativity. You would have loved to have seen either a Foden or a Cherki in there to be that sort of locksmith, someone to pick a pocket, someone to find a pocket as well, and thread the eye of a needle type pass. You know, I think Reinders can do that job. But ultimately, it's more of a solid, experienced midfield, which I've got no problems with. You're just looking at the creativity side of it, and you're looking out wide at that point and hoping Oscar Bob and Jeremy Doku can deliver. Because Erling Haaland, he's got a taste for the goal. So there is a positive note to end this video on, that Manchester City have got a striker who just bagged 5 goals and 2 assists 2 days ago. So he's coming away with confidence. This could all change and very likely will. I don't want to scaremonger because, like I said, I do believe the majority of those injuries are not going to be true. I like to think Stones is okay. I think Husanov will be okay, in which case that back 2 centre-backs you can see in Diaz and Ake, which is a terrifying lack of pace, which could go up against the likes of Matheus Cunha and Mbeumo. And if that's to be the case as well, those two are not short of pace. Cunha could be back for this game, reports suggesting that he might be back. I'm not sure he will, but even so, you know United are going to try and hit us on the break. But Ruben Diaz and Ake, they don't fill me with confidence in terms of preventing that transition that United are going to want to employ in the game. But I still think there's enough in our starting 11, even with all of those injuries, to beat Manchester United. And if we did, and all of those injuries were proven to be true, and we still come away with the 3 points, then yeah, I'm still laughing, I'm still feeling positive, and I'm still feeling like we're going to win the game. Do you? Blues, get in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up silverware.